Corporate Innovator of the Year, ClusterTruck. Interesting name, of course. I love the name. It gets a lot of attention, but the model, the idea itself is getting a lot of attention and a lot of traction. Chris, I think it was 2 years ago here at the Mira Awards, off camera, we talked a little bit about this. Talk about ClusterTruck, the model, because on the one hand, it's a food company, it's really about technology.
That's right, that's right. You know, one of the things we really started to focus on was about time, right? And a lot of food delivery companies focus on, how do I make this food taste good when it's 45 minutes old? And we thought, let's solve the 45-minute problem. So Dan and I worked together, kind of, well, he did all the work. I just thought up the idea. But, it's like, let's not cook the food till we know exactly where the delivery person is. So if he's 11 minutes away and the food's going to take 3 minutes, let's only start cooking the food when it's 3 minutes. That's just sort of how it came about. It seems very simple, but it's amazing.
For those who may not know the model, talk about the model and how it works.
Sure. So we're a prepared food delivery company. We have essentially like a Google cafeteria or a cheesecake factory, super, super high quality food across every genre. We brand them with these kind of food truck pseudonyms. And so we can make 160 different items in every category you might want. And then using our technology to organize the drivers, organize the customers, and the delivery time, cook time, we can get you an average of 21-minute deliveries of amazing food.
Yeah. Dan, talk about the technology that
Sure.
really makes it happen, because that's the secret sauce here, so to speak.
Sure, yeah, it really is. And when Chris first approached me with this idea, I loved everything about it, except for all the work it was going to involve. When we first started, I just planned on building the customer ordering part of it, just the website. But what I found was there's nothing off the shelf we could have put in our kitchen. Every restaurant out there is using the same legacy software built for people coming in, sitting down. Mm-hmm. Nothing would have worked for us, so we had to build the kitchen software. So we've got our own custom software that powers our kitchen. It's the busiest kitchen in Indianapolis, and it's the quietest kitchen because everything's done with screens. Mm-hmm. It's all technology. And then the original idea also was to use Uber, like literally Uber drivers to do the deliveries. We'd use Uber's API, they'd show up at our kitchen, they'd deliver the food. What we found out was that would be really awkward for those guys. They'd come here, they think they're picking up a passenger, and we'd shove food in their car. So we were like, probably can't do that. So we had to build an app for the drivers. So what we ended up with was 3 core components that all talk to each other, and that's what really gives us our efficiency and allows us to do the 21-minute delivery.
Yeah, and Chris, this is, I think, part of a much larger vision that you have all around food.
Yeah, I started, as we've talked about it before, with Tyner Pond Farm. Mm-hmm. And we got into the mug and the restaurant business, and it was just that education all sort of led me here. Like, what's wrong with the food business with the farm, and what's wrong with restaurants with the mug, and what's wrong with delivery, and how everyone's trying to do it by using kind of a legacy model. I came out of R.R. Donnelley, where I used to print the Sears catalog, right? Like, why didn't Sears become the everything store? Is because they tried to add the internet onto it as a channel. And what Amazon won because they thought about it as a internet-only business, and that's really how we're approaching this. So we feel like we're going to win.
Yeah. Okay, Dan, I'll ask you first, and then you can close it up here, Chris. But as you look to the future, you're just over a year old, so you're early in the game. But where do you see this ClusterTruck model going?
I think the model is stable. I don't think the model changes much at all. It's just us getting out to more cities like Indianapolis. Yeah. That's really going to be the challenge for us.
Yeah, and I know you've got some expansion, some new cities in Indiana. And where do you see that expansion model?
Well, we've recently moved to Bloomington. We have 4 signed leases now around the country. So between hopefully sometime to mid-June to early August, we will be launching in 4 new cities. We just got funding, so we will probably... Our goal is by this time next year to have 10 kitchens around the country.
Okay. How about growing this company in Indiana?
Well, Indiana has been very, very good to me, right? It really has been. It's an easy place to do business. There's tons of talent. People are game for anything. So it's, my first job out of college was moving me to New York. I was in the Seattle area, and the headquarters of the company was in Chicago, and I was like, I almost didn't take the job because I thought I could never live in the flatlands. And to be a person who says, I will happily spend the rest of my life in Indianapolis, it's just, it's been great. It's been a great environment.